Good morning, everybody. Welcome to, I guess, the launch of Creekside Chronicles. And this channel is totally dedicated to our Sunday morning live streams. And we're so glad to have everybody here this morning. My throat's really bad today. Don't know if it's the cold weather, what it is. We've got a nasty weather. We've had an awful storm for the last 2 days. But we're here, and so far we have good internet feed, so should be okay. A few things about the new channel. I'm not sure. I think the one thing I forgot to do was make Jesse and a few others our moderators. So I'm not sure how to do that without going out of the channel. That's what I'm trying to do here now. But Jesse, forgive me. Everything else that I was doing, I just totally forgot to go in and finish up the making people moderators on this channel. So we will just deal with it this way today, and then next Sunday we'll make sure we have everything set up. But hey, everybody, I hope you like the new intro. We spent a lot of time designing and editing and doing a lot of things to get the channel off and going. So we do hope that everyone, good morning, Craig. We do hope that everyone has enjoyed it. It is our welcome video on the channel. If you have not watched it, if you would go watch it, please, and just hit that subscribe if you haven't, and thumbs up. We appreciate it. Fugate wants to know what software did I use to create the intro. I use DaVinci Resolve. That's the program I use for all of my editing, and it's a huge learning curve, big program. I worked with Jesse here at Lazy Days Ahead for the last few days, getting him acquainted with it. It's a great program. I love it, and you can do so many things with it. And so, yeah, that's the program I use. If you want to know more about it, just email me. Our email's there, and yeah, you can get a hold of us, and we'll figure it all out for you there. If I can help you in any way, I will. But yeah, we're just waiting for a few more to get in here, and good to see. I didn't know how many people would actually be able to find us today. How many want to see the intro one more time? For those of you that did not see the full intro, good morning, Sam. How many would like to view that? It's 3 minutes. How many want to spend the next 3 minutes and watch the intro one more time? If you want to do that, just type in there intro. I don't want to be repetitive or redundant, but for those of you that haven't seen it, I don't mind playing it again if you want to see it. Yeah. Jesse, users beware. That's why Tony and I have less hair. There you go, Jesse. We spent a lot of time the last 48 hours working with Lazy Days and learning the program there, helping him learn the program. But it's good. All right, so here's what I'll do then. I'll let this intro play one more time. Sam, the best way, and for those of you that want to do super chats, because this channel is not monetized yet, then the way you have to do it is through PayPal. And on this channel, you'll see the PayPal button at the top in the banner. And if you click on that, you can make a donation right through PayPal, right there. It's really easy. It's just as easy as Super Chat. Or if you want to, you can also go over to Creekside Chronicles and you can do a super chat there or whatever, or when we're on live Tuesday night. It's whatever works best for everybody. So we appreciate you finding us today on this new channel. That's why we need this channel to grow so quickly and get us to 1,000 subs and 4,000 watch hours, because we need to get it monetized. And we're just depending on everybody out there to spread this good word on Sunday to get it done. If you go to a church, here's a great way to help grow the channel. Share the channel with your church friends. Say, hey, look, here's a really neat channel. It's really good. Take a look, subscribe, help them out. Let's get this channel going. If you could do that, that would help. Anyway, here's, for those that didn't see it, here's the new intro. All right. Volume. Now we have volume. My apologies. I think it's good there now. I happened to hit the mute button there and forgot about it. So I'll let everyone get caught up here now. As I was saying, that is the new intro for our channel, and we're so excited about it. Yes, I'm back. And so if you have friends, church friends, even if you pastor a church and you like this Sunday morning content, this channel is dedicated to this Chronicles. That's it. We're not putting other stuff on here. This is simply for spiritual enrichment Sunday mornings. And so help us grow. We need to get that 1-4 split, 1,000 views, 4,000 or 1,000 subs, 4,000 views to get it monetized so that it works, so that everyone can give in the offerings and things like that as well if you choose to. But we're really excited about the channel. We feel that this is absolutely the ministry that God wants us to do right now across this social media base, across the world, because so many people need to be encouraged. And so we are going to follow through with this, but we can't do it alone. We need your help to make this channel grow. So whoever you're talking to, share it, whatever, and say, look, let's take your phone out here. It's right here. Let's hit it and let's go. So we thank you for that. I want to get right into this morning. And again, forgive my throat. This cold weather wreaks havoc on it. We're going to talk about the book of Job a little bit. And I'm definitely not going to read all the scriptures that I am going to be talking about this morning. But I do want to start with Job chapter 1. And it says in Job chapter 1, there was a man in the land of Uz, who's not Oz, that's another one. There was a man in the land of Uz whose name was Job. That man was perfect and upright, and one that feared God and eschewed evil. And there were born unto him 7 sons and 3 daughters. His substance also was 7,000 sheep, 3,000 camels, 500 yoke of oxen, 500 mules, and a very great household. So this man was the greatest of all the men in the East. And then I want us to look at this portion of scripture as well. In Amos 3:12, as the shepherd takes out of the mouth of the lion 2 legs or a piece of an ear. I want you to notice that, and I want you to get that in your head. That's not much left, is it? Not much left. 2 legs or a piece of an ear. So shall the children of Israel be brought out. So as the shepherd takes out of the mouth of the lion 2 legs or a piece of an ear, so shall the children of Israel be brought out. And Fugate, we're glad that you're here, and we appreciate your honesty there. I have to get into a church. Some Sundays he said I can stay for a whole time. Same. Some I have to get in there earlier. God bless y'all. And that's fine. You have to get into church. Okay, that's what you're saying. Your church is important, Fugate. So that's what you need to do. And if you can stay, stay. But don't be late for church. God bless you. I'm just glad you're going to church. So back to Amos. So it doesn't look like there's much left in that scripture to be brought out. But the truth of it is, it's not discarded. And this is a thought I want everyone to know today. On the thumbnail, it says it's a new dawn and a new day. And I want to talk about this. I want to talk about what God can do when there's nothing left, what God can do with what you've got left. And this is a story here in Job that absolutely illustrates all of that. If you read down through Job chapter 1 and chapter 2, you can see, and I'm just going to summarize it real quick here. The first off, in Job chapter 1 and verse 6, it was not God's idea, or excuse me, it was not Job's fault nor Satan's idea actually to attack Job. The Lord said unto him, have thou considered my servant Job? And so that's how Job got in this predicament. And then you go on to there, and you can see how all these things take his life. In verse 13, his sons and daughters are eating and drinking, and there was a storm came, and the roof fell in, and they are all killed. There was another day, the oxen were plowing, the mules are feeding beside them, And it says the Sabeans fell upon them and took them away and slew all of his servants. There's another day where the fire, it said the fire of God fell. And this could have happened all in the same day. It looks like it. But the fire of God fell out of heaven, it says, and burned up all of his sheep and all the servants. And the servant said, I'm the only one left. This is all you've got left to come and tell you this. And then it says in 17, the Chaldeans made out and took the camels and stole them and slew the servants. And another one says, this is all that's left. I'm the only one left to bring you this news. And while he was there talking and telling Job, another servant rushes in and he says, thy sons and thy daughters were eating and drinking in the eldest brother's house. There came a great wind from the wilderness, a tornado or whatever, and it fell upon the house. The young men are all dead. The ladies are gone. And he said, I'm the only one left. And then in 20, it says that Job rose and ripped his clothing, shaved his head. That was a sign of lamenting or sadness. And he fell down upon the ground. And I like this. And he worshiped. He didn't get bitter. He worshiped. And he said, naked came I out of my mother's womb. Naked shall I return. Blessed be the name of the Lord. And it says in all of this that Job did not charge God foolishly. But then in chapter 2, you see some more stuff happening where Satan comes back and talks with the Lord. And he says, well, if you let me touch his body, then he'll curse you and he will die. And so the Lord told him, he said, you can touch his body with illness and disease, but you can't kill him. And so it comes out that he put his hand upon the hand of Job. And you see that Job in verse 7 of chapter 2, he was smote or inflicted with sore boils from the sole of his foot to the crown of his head. But I want you to notice in chapter 2 and verse 8, it says this, and it says that he took him a potsherd to scrape himself with it, to try to find some kind of relief from these boils. And then it says this, that he sat down in the ashes. Now, that's important, and I'll tell you why that's important, is because a potsherd is nothing more. It's literally translated a shard of pottery or a broken clay vessel, a piece of it. And so the only thing Job has left is that piece of broken pottery that he's scraping his sickly body with, and he sat down in ashes. What are ashes? Ashes are nothing left. It's gone, burnt down. But where was he sitting? It tells us he was sitting in the dunghill. And if you understand biblical history, when you were afflicted with an unknown disease, they forced you to leave the city because they did not have an antidote and they did not want it spreading. So you were forced to leave the city. And the dunghill is actually interpreted the waste heap or the garbage dump. And it was the place that all the waste, the human waste was taken. All the trash was taken. Many times unknown bodies that were John Does or were afflicted with leprosy or whatever it may have been were thrown out there, and that's where they were destroyed. And so history records that some of these dunghills would rise higher than the walls of the city, and that many travelers would locate cities by watching and looking for the tendril of smoke that was wafting heavenward from this burning debris. That is where Job is now sitting. I want you to notice that. And I realize we're not Job and you're not Job. I'm not. We get that. And sometimes when we're going through things or we're trying to help and minister and encourage people that are going through tragic events, we look at them and say, well, remember Job. Well, the truth of it is we're not Job. We're not. And everyone's story is their story. But there's some hope here for folks today to understand that he is reduced to sitting in ashes with nothing but a broken piece of pottery in a festering, swollen, pus-covered body outside of his city where he was the greatest man in all of the East. There's a story that I like to tell about Chippy the parakeet. And it says this, so Chippy the parakeet never saw this coming. One second he was peacefully perched in his cage, and the next minute he was sucked in, washed up, and blown over. What had happened, the problem began when Chippy's owner decided to clean his cage with a vacuum cleaner. She removed the attachment from the end of the hose and stuck it into his cage. And then the phone rang, and she turned to pick it up. And she barely said hello when she heard the awful noise, and Chippy got sucked in. The bird owner gasped, put down the phone, turned off the vacuum, opened the bag. There was Chippy, still alive, but very stunned. And since the bird was covered in dust and soot, she grabbed him and raced to the bathroom, turned on the faucet, and held Chippy under the running water. Realizing that Chippy was soaked and shivering from all the water and the trauma, she did what any compassionate bird owner would do. She reached for the hair dryer and blasted that bird with the hot air. Poor Chippy never knew what hit him. A few days later, after the trauma, the reporter who had initially written about the event contacted Chippy's owner to see how the bird was recovering. Well, she replied, Chippy doesn't sing much anymore. He just kind of sits and stares. It's not hard to see why. He was sucked in, washed up, blown over, and that's enough to steal anyone's song. But the truth of it is, we can relate to that. We really can. We can relate to how life can go from calm to chaos so quickly. And so, 1 minute, you're seated in familiar territory, calm and with a song in your heart, and you're humming a tune. And then all of a sudden a pink slip is mailed to you, or a rejection letter, or the doctor's office calls, or the divorce papers are filed, or the check bounces, or policeman knocks on the door. And we get sucked into these caverns of doubts and doused with the cold water of fear, of reality. And we get stung with the hot, empty air of empty promises, because life had been so calm, but now it becomes stormy. Hailstorms of demands, they beat on us sometimes, and we get assailed by all of these doubts, and we get pummeled by our questions. And then somewheres in the journey, we lose our joy, and we lose our exuberance, and we lose our direction. And then we find ourselves, I guess, flailing on life's sea, and we're begging God to throw us a lifeline, because you can't see any way out of this thing. And you tried to be like Peter. Oh yeah, you did. You got up on the boat and you tried to walk on the water, but it resulted in a belly flop. And now it's an effort just to stay afloat, because everything in your life seems like it's just tumbling around you. A step of faith became a flop of fear, and storms come upon us so quickly, and they pounce on you ferociously. And you know what I'm talking about today, because if you're not in a storm today, you just came through one, or there will be one over the horizon. The same voice, though, folks, that stilled the waters on Galilee can still calm our troubled soul. And he's closer than what we think he is. And so we have to look at it sometimes and understand that it may look like we've got absolutely nothing left at all, but you've got to find a way to hold on. The eclipsing clouds of fear and debt and doubt and anger and phone calls and the peace that's gone and all of those things. Calm has a way of becoming chaos so quickly. If you look at the story that I told you about Job, he holds the handle on life when life can turn in an instant into something that was not anticipated. You see, another morning of manna was what he was doing. He was in his daily devotions. He was ministering before the Lord. His sons and daughters are doing their thing. And Job's intercession for his offspring is interrupted because this servant, this wrangler, he runs through the door and he tells Job the worst possible scenario. The oxen were working, they're plowing in the fields, the mules are feeding beside them, and the Sabians swept down on them, stealing them all, slaying all the servants. And then before this bedraggled servant can finish his story, another one runs in and says, the fire of God has fallen. The sheep are burnt up. The shepherds are killed. There's nothing left but one smoke-stained servant to bring the news to him. And then right on top of that, that hasn't even settled down yet. The third one runs in, and the Chaldeans have come on 3 different fronts and attacked them and stole the camels and slew all the camel wranglers. And there's only one servant left. Job he hardly has a time to catch his breath. Ever been there? You feel like I can't even catch my breath. Everything is unraveling so quickly, especially in the times that we're living right now. So many people they go to work thinking, okay, I've been here 15 years. And then all of a sudden, boom, their job's over. Done. See you later. Gone. What are they to do? Where are they going to go? What's going to happen? And they're home and they're trying to struggle through all of these things. And there's people with sickness, and there's people that are feeling like they're being segregated against. And there's people that are struggling with their faith and their fear all in the same sentence. It happens. And so this is where Job's at. Where did this come from? That's a big question. The unknown elements that creep up and deliver such devastation, they cause such strife. And you wonder, what did I do to deserve this? I thought I was doing better than this. What happened? And so rest doesn't come, and your tears fall until they can't, and your pillow's saturated with night sweats and fears and tears and all of that sort of thing. And the sun may have risen in the desert sky the next day over Job's house, but Job, he's struggling, man. You understand what I'm saying? He then notices after all of this that all of a sudden his skin's becoming very sensitive to touch, and he cringes at the very thought of more pain and more agony. How much more could he take? How much more does he have to endure? You know what I'm talking about. You're at your wit's end, and one thing leads to another, and you don't know what to do anymore. It's a struggle just to get out of bed. It's a struggle just to keep going. And you try to put on that good face, but inside of you, you feel, my heavens, I can't take any more of this. And there's Job, a disease with no cure. And the law is very certain. Now Job, the greatest in the East, is the least in the East. He's got no hope. He's got no home. He's got no family, no future, no explanation. He sits down in ashes, in leftovers, and he finds a broken piece of pottery. Not a shiny new scrub cloth or disinfectant or nothing, but a broken piece of pottery. And he begins to scrape himself, searching for some kind of solace to alleviate his agony. And we've all been there. You turn to things just trying to, if I can just distract my mind, I'll turn to this. And sometimes people turn to the wrong things. They do. They turn to alcohol. They turn to drugs, and they turn to, things on the internet that they shouldn't be turning to. And they turn to all these different, things, and trying to medicate, because that's all it is. It's just medication for what's really going on. And they try to medicate their pain and medicate their horror and medicate their anxiety without ever really realizing what's going on here. And they get lost in that vicious cycle, of no hope. But I want you to know, what can God do with, here he's sitting in ashes, but what can God do with ashes? Well, you can throw a handful skyward and it'll bring an entire nation to its knees. Because if you look, when Moses and the 10 plagues hit Egypt, one of the things that Moses did, God commanded him to throw ashes heavenward. And as Moses threw those ashes up, God took a hold of them and brought judgment back down upon the Egyptians. And that allowed the Israelites, Moses led those Israelites out of there. So never think that even if you're down to ashes and broken pottery, never think God can't use that. because the difference is this. As I referenced Moses threw them skyward. You know, that means he had to let go of what was left so that God could take a hold of it. Because, my friends, God's not going to play tug of war with us. If you want to hang on to it, you can. But if you'll give it to him, he'll gladly take it. And he's going to turn that around, and he'll do something with it. It may just be ashes, but I'll guarantee you he can do something with your ashes. He can do something with what you've got left. He can do something with a broken piece of pottery. He really can. He really, really can. If you'll trust him to do that, if you'll let him do that, he truly can. If you look at Job's life after he got through all of this time, in chapter 42 of Job, it says when he prayed for his friends, then it says that his calamity was ended and he got feeling better. But it says that the latter days of Job were greater than his former. That's amazing to me, to lose everything, to be stressed beyond stress, to have the anxiety he must have had, to see everything that he built disappear, to have it all ripped from his hands. And he would stand there, and I'm sure he would wonder, where, what, why, how does this happen in this day and in this culture? And we've all been there. How? What are we going to do now? What's going to happen? Where to from here? And I don't have the answers to all of those things, but I do know this: God does. And if we let go of everything that we are struggling with, he can take it and he can change it and he can make something out of what you've got left. It may be just frazzled nerves and broken relationships and gone finances that are gone, and kids that rebelled, and spouses that refuse to communicate, and all of those things. It may be totally gone. You may be wrestling internally with faith and fear and doubt and wonder, does it even pay off to live right, and all of that, when it seems like those that live wickedly get blessed more than those that are living well, good. But you have to understand, God is going to take what you've got left. God's going to turn it around. Watch what happens in 1 Samuel 30. Another character in the scriptures by the name of David. David and his 600 men, they came to Ziklag. All is gone, and they weep until they can cry no more. Now, you've got to be brokenhearted when you can't squeeze one more tear out of your eyes, out of your tear ducts. It's done. The Amalekites have come. David's men want to stone him. 600 leftover men that no one else wanted. That's what David has for his merry band of warriors. But the Bible says that David encouraged himself in the Lord. You see, you have to get to that place, no matter if everyone else is against you, if no one else understands you, if everybody seems to want you gone and stripped of your authority and your possessions and your finances and your health and your emotional stability, you've still got to dig down deep and find a way to encourage yourself in the Lord. And so then at the brook, the Lord tells David, I'm getting ahead of myself. The Lord tells David to get up and go and pursue the Amalekites. Go after them. Chase down that enemy. Don't stay where you're at, David. You're gonna suffocate yourself in your emotional anxiety if you just stay the way you are. Get up, go do something, go in another direction. And sometimes that's what we have to do. If you keep doing what you've always done, you always get what you've always got. And sometimes it just means we've got to get up and move forward. Don't just stand there. I know the Bible says when you've done all you can do, then you stand. I get that. But some of us have been stuck for so long that we need to move forward again. Start doing something again. Break out of that rut. Get out of that old mud and start moving forward. And so David does. Can you imagine how hard it must have been for him to convince those 600 men to follow him? Because they wanted to stone him. They wanted him dead. They blamed him for their loss. But then at the brook Bezor, 200 more men stay behind. So out of his 600, he loses 200 at the brook Bezor. And so now he's only got 400 men left. That's it. Just a bunch of leftovers. Watch this. So his family's gone. His home's gone. Their livestock's gone. And he's only got 600 men, leftover men that nobody wanted in the first place. And now he's only got 400 of them left. They find a dying slave. Now watch this. They find a dying slave, an Ethiopian slave, in a field. In a field. Can you imagine? This is part of the raiding party that destroyed your home, destroyed your family, destroyed your finances, destroyed your livestock, your livelihood. This slave, that this dying man in the field that David and 400 of his men come across. You know what I would want to do? I'd want to take out all of my frustration on that guy right there, because he's one of the guys that raided my home. So can you imagine the mindset that David is wrestling with? 400 guys want to kill this guy. And David's going, no, let's not kill it. Let's nurse it back to health and have it lead us to our other stuff. Let that sink in. Sometimes we want to kick against what we got left, and we want to critique it and criticize it and say there's nothing left. There's no hope. We can't do it on this. It's over with. There's no way. Somewhere you have to look at it and say, if this is what God has left us with, if we trust God, then we're going to have to trust him with this little tiny bit. Don't kill what God's left you with. Don't cast it aside. Don't think that it will never work or could never work. But begin to nurse that back to health. Begin to feed it. And that's the thing. You'll never get positive by feeding negative energy into your mind. You'll never have faith by feeding fear into your heart. You'll never move forward by listening to the voices that want to anchor you in the past. You have to look at what God has left you with and begin to nurse that and get it back to strength again, because it's going to lead you somewhere. And in verse 18 and 19, okay, that's in 1 Samuel 30, verses 18 and 19. There's a little story there, and it says this: David recovers all. Now, I want you to understand that. It says that in the scriptures. David got everything back. Now, why is that important? Because I want you to notice this. The Amalekites attacked Ziklag and took all of this stuff before David ever got back home. So they've got a head start. They're way ahead of David now. And then David finds this slave in the field, and it says they take 3 more days to nurse him back to health. So the Amalekites have a strong, weak, 7 days head start. Now, you have to understand that in the biblical times, when a raiding party came in, they weren't nice people. They were there to hurt you, destroy you, kill you. But what amazes me about this story is that it says that David recovered everything, all of it. Now, why is that important? Because I'll tell you what should have happened, or what normally would have happened. There would have been some sheep that have been killed and eaten. There would have been some goats slain and eaten. There would have been some, probably some children killed, some women killed after they probably would try to rape them or whatever. They would try to destroy these people. That's what normally the story would have read like, but it didn't read that way. It said that David and his men got everything back they lost. Every dog and cat, every sheep, every goat, every camel, every mule, every bit of money, every bit of food, every child, every wife, every son, every daughter, everything they lost, they got back. How's that possible? The enemy never destroyed any of it, because God's hand had wrapped around David's stuff and kept it and protected it until David got back up and marched toward it and took possession of it again. And I'm telling somebody right now today, God's got some things that he's hung on to for you. He's got some things his hands are protecting for you. He's got some promises that he's keeping for you, and you've given up on them. You don't think there's any way. There's no way that son's going to get right. There's no way that daughter's going to get right. There's no way this relationship will ever work or get mended. There's no way we're ever going to get out of this financial hole. There's no way that we'll ever find a job again. There's no way we'll ever get beyond the pandemic. There's no way that we're ever going to see this all work out. I've got news for you. God still got you in his hand. He's still protecting us. The church is still alive. God's power is still real, and he knows your name. He knows what you're going through. He knows your ups and your downs, your end from your beginning. He knows everything about you. And no matter what people and the enemy has tried to do, he's still got you in his hand. He's protecting you. He's going to help you make it every step of the way. And you've got to just start believing that and telling yourself that in the face of the adversity that you're in right now. You have to, because God's got this. He really, truly does. Hang in there. He's going to bring you through. You're going to recover some things that you feel you've lost. I'm telling somebody right now, you're going to get some stuff back that you feel like you've lost. There's so many people out there who have lost jobs and they're worried about lost income. God's going to get you that back. Trust him. He will. He really, really will. You just got to believe that God's got you. So what am I saying? I'm saying this, that you may only have 5 loaves and 2 fish, but it's enough. It's enough. It will be. You just have to understand. I mean, if you look, there's so many scriptures about this. I want to give you one more example. Mark chapter 6, verse 43 to 48. As the disciples, Jesus has just fed a multitude on the beach, and from the loaves, 5 loaves and 2 fish. And it says this: they took up 12 baskets full of leftovers, fragments, and of the fishes. And they did eat of the loaves, were about 5,000 men. Straightway he constrained his disciples to get into the ship and go to the other side unto Bethsaida, while he sent away the people. So 5 loaves, 2 fish, fed over 5,000 men. Now you've got to understand, there was women and children there as well. So they just said fed 5,000 men, but it also fed their families that were there with them. But Jesus sends them to Bethsaida. Get in the boat, go to Bethsaida, and when the night came, the ship was in the midst of the ocean, and Jesus was on the land. And it says he saw them toiling and rowing, for the wind was contrary unto them. About the 4th watch of the night, he cometh unto them walking upon the sea, and would have passed them by. But Peter, they called out to him. What am I saying? It says that they took up 12 baskets full of fragments, leftovers. And they didn't leave them leftovers cast away there. They probably took some with them. So you have to understand, the disciples have just experienced this huge miracle where God took a little bit and made a whole bunch. And they actually have lunch boxes packed full of food, fragments, leftovers with them in that boat from that miracle. But then a storm comes up. Is their attention still on the miracle? Is their focus still on the leftover fragments in their baskets? No. Immediately their focus goes on the size of the waves, the sound of the thunder, the lightning, the rain, the storm. Because we are so creatures of habit that we can be blessed with so much, and we can have so many things happen, and God can do so many miracles for us. But the minute a storm comes, we so quickly forget about the blessings, what brought us this far. I'm telling somebody today, he didn't bring you this far to leave you. He didn't. I feel bad for Sam. I am on here. He was talking about how there was a fire and arson and all that. And I seen that in the news, and how that now, homeless and all those things. But I want you to know, Sam, God knew, and God's with you, and he's going to keep you, and he's going to help you, and you're going to get back everything you may have lost. And for everyone else in here, you've got to keep your focus on the fact that you can do this, because there are so many adverse voices every single day. Negative this, negative that, negative news, negative politicians, negative physicians, negative lawyers, negative doctors, negative neighbors, negative people, negative. Everything can get negative. But I want you to know God is working for you. He's going to keep you. He's going to help you. Don't give up in the midst of it all. Hang in there. What you've got left is enough for God to work with. You say, we don't have much left. It's enough for God to work with. It is. It is. It's enough for God to work with. He's going to keep you. Joni's going to come. She's going to sing a song. I hope this has blessed you today. I really felt to share this with somebody today, that you're down to your last bit of strength. And oh yeah, you're smiling and you're saying the right things, but it's not, you know, inside how you really truly are feeling. But I want you to know God's heard your prayers. God's going to keep you. And yes, God's going to bless those truckers and all those families. And everyone, I don't want to get political or nothing, but everyone, you've got to understand, God did not turn his back on us, on the world or anything. A lot of people are trying to promote that ideal that there's no such thing as God and all that. But the truth of it is, he is still with us. And he's going to look after every situation. There's still people that believe in God in the face of all the adversity. So keep on keeping on. Keep on keeping on. What you've got left will be enough. All I've got left is ashes. It'll be enough. All I've got left is a broken coffee cup. It'll be enough. All I got left is a broke down vehicle. It'll be enough. All I got left is a pink slip and hopefully my EI will kick in. It'll be enough. Some people have let me know, wives, husbands losing jobs and everything, and retirements going up in smoke because of all the foolishness that's going on. But I want you to know it'll be enough. God will keep you. God will keep you. She's going to sing.
For he is working for our good. He is working for our good. These trials have come to make us strong, though we don't see how they could. When you may not understand, you can place it in God's hand. For we know he's working all things together.
That's right, Jesse.
For our good. Yes, he is working for our
He's working for our good.
For he is working for our good. And these trials, they've come only to make you strong, though we don't know how they could. When you may not understand, know that you can place it in God's hand. For we know he's working all things together for our good. Oh, He is working for our good. Lord, You're working everything for our good. And these trials have come to make us strong, though we don't see how they ever could. But when you may not understand, know that you can place it in God's hand.
Thank you, Greg.
We know that He's working all things together for our good. And when you may not, oh, you just can't understand, you can place it in God's hand. For we know, I know that He's working. For we know, yes, we know He's working.
That is right, David.
Together
Sandy.
for our good.
How about this one? I don't know why I want to do this, and we've been too long already. There's an old song, and some of you like these old songs. So here's one for all you folks that like that old stuff. There's power, power, wonder-working power.
Mm-hmm.
Sing that.
Sure.
That's a good old song.
Well, there is power, power, wonder-working power in the blood of the Lamb. Oh, there is power, power, wonder-working power in the precious blood of the Lamb. Now would you be free from your burden of sin? There's power in the blood, power in the blood. And would you or evil of victory win? There's wonderful power in the blood. Oh, there is power, power, wonder-working power in the blood of the Lamb. I know there's power, power, wonder-working power in the precious blood of the Lamb. Come for a cleansing to Calvary's flow. There's power in the blood, power in the blood. For sin stains are lost in His life-giving flow. There's wonderful power in the blood.
Amen. And there's an old church song. There's some good stuff out there. So we're so thankful everyone has joined us today. And again, please share Creekside Chronicles, the channel. And don't forget the other channel, Creekside Maples and all that. We're still putting content up there. That's where all of our homestead content will be. All of our milling content will be, all that. But we just felt that we needed to separate the Sunday spiritual sides of stuff. So Creekside Chronicles is what that's all about. Jenny M says, now I'm dancing in the kitchen. And so don't forget to share this channel. We've got a long ways to go to get to get to that 1,000 sub and 4,000 views. But I know we can do it because I believe that this is what God wants us to be doing. So how many will join the Creekside crew, be part of this Creekside crew, and let's take this ministry all over the nation. Let's find everybody we can to share this with. And if you know people that like church, like this kind of music, like this style, whatever, send it to them, share it with them, help us grow this channel, and we'll be so appreciative. And again, You cannot give on this channel through Super Chat at all because it's not monetized yet. Once it's monetized, you can. However, there are still ways you can give on the channel. If you look on the channel, Creekside Chronicles channel banner, right to the right, you'll see PayPal, and you just click on that, and you can make a donation right that way, right through PayPal. And that will help, and it does help everything we do, because we've got some plans that we want to do for this ministry.
Right.
Some things we want to change it up a bit and stuff. But anyway, do that if you want to. We appreciate every gift that comes in. God bless you. Thank you.
Thank
And
you
I'll have
all so much.
and Jesse and Lisa, the mod father, I'll have this moderator thing fixed for next week.
Yes, we will.
But in the meantime,
Yes,
y'all
will.
take care,
Yes.
and we shall be in touch. God bless.
God bless you all.
Be
Have
safe.
a great day.
Have a great week. And
It's a new day.
It's a new day. It truly is. God bless you. We shall see you again. Don't forget Tuesday night live stream, and then the videos to come. Take care, everybody. God bless.
Bye-bye.
Have a great